Blessings and welcome to the Circle of Heka. I'm Lady Amaris. I just thought I would slot in here just before the video started and just do a few little disclaimers. Just in case anyone gets the wrong idea, there's nothing wrong with mental illness. It is basically a chemical imbalance in the body, in the brain. Now, there's obviously different degrees of mental illness, and there's different things that contribute to mental illness. And the thing is that I'm not qualified to say either way what is and what isn't mental illness. That is for someone who is qualified to diagnose someone with a mental illness. So with that said, when you're doing anything of a spiritual nature, it is always beneficial that you get both sides of the story. If you find yourself experiencing things that you find that may be frightening to you, and you start to think that maybe your sanity isn't quite what you thought it was, and you've maybe have talked to some people on the spiritual side, please do talk to someone of a medical nature, because not everything that you may experience is spiritual, especially if you have an undiagnosed mental illness. Doing any of these spiritual practices may actually, well, obviously bring that to light, but may also heighten certain mental illness if you're not treating it, if you're unaware of it, if you're not managing it. So please, if you have any inkling, just go and talk to someone, even if it's just to allay your fears, thinking that you might be going mad, and then you end up realizing, oh no, I'm not, this is actually a spiritual thing, I'm fine, all good. At least you've ticked that box to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, knowing yourself and taking care of yourself in a spiritual way. This is part of it. This is part of doing that self-care. You want to make sure that you are taking both sides and having a holistic view of your spiritual growth, of your health, of all facets of your life. So please, at any stage of your spiritual path, any stage of your spiritual path, please talk to someone that is a professional, not someone who has maybe read a book or has done a weekend shamanistic retreat or something like that, and is now reporting that they can talk to you or do something of a mental nature. And they can't because they're not qualified. So please make sure that they are qualified and you're talking to someone as well as a spiritual person. I hope that makes sense. And I've got some links down below of places that you can just get some more information and talk to. If you are a little bit worried, these are links for Australian links. So if you are in another country, please just do some research, find out what's available in your town, in your region, wherever you may be, because there is, wherever you are, there is some kind of facility for you to be able to talk to someone. So please do it. It's not unspiritual, it's not unwitchy, it's looking after yourself. So please do. And to the rest of the video, please enjoy. Blessings and welcome to the Circle of Heka. I'm Lady Amaris, and I have with me today one of my wonderful little apprentices. Apprentices? Say that way? Nikki, and she's going to be answering a few questions for me on just various subjects. But today we're going to be talking about how you navigate spirituality and also witchcraft, and also having a diagnosed mental illness. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and I haven't really put specific questions. I haven't written specific questions. I thought we'd just do a kind of an organic question and answer kind of thing, just as a conversation style. So again, if there are any questions that we haven't covered and then you might be interested in, please put them in the comments below, and I'll have Nikki on again at a later date to maybe help to answer some of those questions for you. So, Nikki.
Hello.
Hello. You're a little bit nervous, but that's okay. So am I. So you, let's just tell everyone what you have been diagnosed with, and then we'll probably take it from there. That's okay?
Yeah. I've been diagnosed with bipolar and depression and a borderline personality disorder.
Not
Not a complete personality, just borderline.
No, I was going to say you're not a sociopath or whatever it is.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's a development.
You're in training. Okay, so bipolar, borderline, and depression.
Yeah.
So with that, you're obviously taking medication.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the times I've heard, and I've also said myself, that taking medication and using different techniques, say of divination, or even going into a magic circle while you are medicated, may not be the best thing. And usually I say that because, especially if you have been, maybe you're fine and then all of a sudden you get sick and you have to take some kind of pain medication, or you have to take some kind of medication that's not going to be for a long time, but you're taking it and then you go in and try and do a spell or be part of a magic circle, and you're just off. You're not firing on all cylinders because it's not something that you're used to. It's not something that you're not always going to be on painkillers. But when it comes to yourself and you're taking medication so that you are back into equilibrium, how do you find that when it comes to say being in a circle, working and
I find that as long as you've been taking it for a while and your body's adjusted to it. Say, like, if I have to change my medication, I'm not going to do any spell work or ritual work for at least a week until my body has adjusted to it. And it's, so any new medication, I usually give it a bit of a break, just so it's already started to work within me and nothing's altering it.
So let's talk about bipolar for a start, because from what my small amount of knowledge, bipolar is basically swinging from manic states when you're like wah, to depression states when you're digging a hole in the ground because you're not low enough.
Yeah.
But you're not necessarily like most people, which is kind of even, where you have a little bit of highs, you have some lows, but it's not to the extreme. How do you find that with your... Do you find that the medication seems to dull you as opposed to when you were not taking the medication? You feel the difference, obviously, but...
It depends on the medication. Some medications may dull you and make you really just zombie-like. If that's the case, I'd probably go to a different doctor and see if you can get something else. Because you don't want to be void of emotion, you just want the balance back. And so it's taken me a long time to get where I am medication-wise that doesn't make me zombie-like. So I can stay at an equilibrium while we're doing stuff.
Okay, so depression. Let's go to depression next, and we'll weave in and out. So don't worry, that's how my brain goes. I weave all over the place. So depression. Again, when it comes to say being we'll call about talk about being part of, say, a circle or in a ritual, and you have a little bit of, say, depression, or you're feeling like you're not quite, ready to be part of everyone else because you're not feeling really good about yourself. So how do you get over that hump? So I'm really trying to find out how you find that you've got a problem or a hindrance in a certain area that other people don't, and how you work around that.
Well, when we're in a circle or in a ritual, when my mood drops a little bit, it's usually fine. I can power through it. If it drops like a significant amount, it's pretty noticeable, and you want to be around people which that understand that and are able to just not shelter you, but just give you a bit of a nudge, or just tell you to, understand that you're not feeling the greatest at the moment. So you just need a little bit of an extra push to do things. Yeah.
like a cat,
But yeah, because sometimes when your mood drops a lot, suddenly everything feels like an effort. Suddenly everything feels like you can't do it. But it's great to have somebody there to just say, "Come on, Nikki, let's do something."
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it a lot easier to a lot of the times you don't get out of that mood drop, but you're able to just crawl up a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not completely in everything's bad, nothing works type of mode.
Mm-hmm. And what about when it comes to say that it's your turn to do something and all eyes are on you and you're in that mood? What do you usually do? I know, but these guys don't know.
I usually just pass it on to somebody else. If I can't bring myself out of it and no one else can, I usually ask just to move it on to the next person, and see how I go for the next time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of the times it's just move it on to the next person and just let me be for a bit.
Mm. But usually it would be that's that little moment in time, and then a little bit longer in the ritual you kind of, you're fine and you're okay. So it's just being put on the spot sometimes.
Yeah, that gets a bit bad. But yeah, if you give enough a little bit of time, I can usually break myself out of it.
Awesome. Okay, what else could I ask about? What would people want to know about? What would you like to tell people as a little thing about if they were thinking about being part of just pursuing the spirituality, or even just witchcraft in general? What sort of things do you think they should consider beforehand?
Well, first, don't let anyone tell you that you can't take your medication and do it. Do magic. It's you bringing yourself back to equilibrium. You're not taking medication for no reason. But if you take medication that makes you drowsy, it's like you wouldn't go to a circle or a ritual drunk. So if you take medication that makes you drowsy, maybe take it after ritual, or I usually skip the night, which you're not meant to, but it's still in my system. But or I'll take it the next day and just be a bit tired all day. But yeah, if you take medication that makes you drowsy, it's best to leave it until after you've done the spell or after you've done the ritual, just so you're more alert and awake. Because if you're drowsy, it's not going to be the same. You're putting in less effort, you're putting in less energy.
Mm-hmm. It's like the dam has been clipped off a little bit, and only just a little trickle is going through instead of the awesomeness of your power. Yeah,
pretty much. So I take night medication that does make me drowsy, and if I'm going to do a spell at night or a small little ritual or something at night, I won't take my medication before that, just so I am more alert.
Mm-hmm. And just to let people know that even though you're not, like in Nikki's case, she's not taking a medication one night to do something, doesn't mean that in the morning she's it takes a little bit to get out of your system.
Medication stays in your system for at least a day fully or two. It depends on the strength of medication you're taking, but I usually take it the next morning, or I take it after the ritual when I get home, and I'll just be extra tired in the morning, but it's usually a weekend, so sleep in.
Yeah. Awesome. So again, with the whole taking of the medication and being bipolar, there are a few people have asked me in the past about because there are lots of different mental illnesses, and we're not going through all of them. But when it comes to spirituality and seeing spirits or talking to different deity and whatnot, doing like navigating through a lot of the things that we take for granted being a spiritual thing. When you have a mental illness, you have to be extra careful to make sure, well, everyone has to be careful, but to make sure that you're not it's not a delusion, and it's not something that you've made up yourself, and discerning what is, a real spiritual event, and you just having a psychotic break.
Well, I have auditory hallucinations, so I do hear things. So it is trying to figure out what you're hearing is you or if it's something spiritual. And I find that I'm more now than I was a couple of months ago. I'm able to discern which is which, mainly because I've done a lot of meditation on it, and different therapies that I've been doing that have helped me figure out what's my voice, what's a different voice, and what's a spiritual voice. So therapy does help. But I find that meditation has been working a lot as well, because you hear a lot of things while you're meditating, and just acknowledging everything. Like, you'd think when you meditate you have a random thought pop up in your head and you're like, oh, that, I'm meditating, that can't happen. But if you acknowledge what it is and try and figure it out, then it helps.
Well, that's one of the things that I say to everyone is, when you're starting out, meditation is the key to everything. It's the key to everything. If you know how to meditate and quieten your mind, and then you can start to discern what's me chattering to myself, what may be an actual spiritual thing, and you also got your dark half chattering at you as well. So you can then discern, okay, what's spiritual, what's me, what's reality, and you can work that out by meditating. And I think anyone who has a mental illness, one of the key things is that meditation should be the priority before you even start trying to do a spell or anything. Get your mind in a space where you know specifically who are you and who someone else is, and you can keep that focus. And I'm sure by the sounds of it, you found that it's been, when you keep on doing and you don't stop doing it, that meditation helps you to be in control of yourself. Yeah,
I've had different psychologist who has suggested meditation to me before, and it's been a big help just to be able to calm my mind, figure out what's me and what's not. So it's
So when you have a spiritual experience, do you know now that it is, or do you still kind of go, is that me just being...
There are some times where I'm like, is that me? And then it happens, like, if it happens, I guess, again, it's like whatever's trying to talk to me has realised that I'm doubting and does it again, but if I'm aware of it happening, I'm not gonna be able to do it, and it's not gonna happen in my mind because I'm aware of it. So it has to be an outside force that does it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see it a second time and I'm like, or hear it a second time and I'm like, right, so it's not me.
This could be something. Yeah. Okay. What else? So if you're worried about, say, doing spell work when you one of the things that I find is that when people do have a mental illness and they're not taking their medication because they feel that they're not tapping into their spirituality. Is that something that you've done as well? You've gone, oh, I'm not taking anything because I want to be clean and pure, and this is deadening me. This is dulling my psychic witch self.
I actually did try it a couple of years ago. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just stop taking my medication because it's getting in the way of me being the real me, and then it turns out the real me is not good. Without the additional help to produce certain hormones in my brain, I am not a fun person to be around. So I learned that the best way to be the best spiritual me is to have that help.
To be drugged up.
To be drugged up and have that help. Like, my brain doesn't create serotonin on its own, so it needs help. So giving it that little bit of extra help has helped me spiritually, as opposed to going off the rails.
Yeah. Cool. Because you have heard of people who have especially go into the depression part, being doing a sort of a spiritual pursuit, and have ended up getting into such a deep hole and letting their depression take hold that they've tried to commit suicide or done other things, and because also they're taking in sort of some spiritual things like being partially empath, and so you taking on other people's worries, and you are also depressed, so you start taking on their things and in some way thinking that their stuff is your stuff, and then climbing down into a deeper hole. So how do you manage that whole thing of not being able to take on other people's energies, and again discerning what's you and what's
I'm finding journaling helps a lot, just keeping like your book of shadows, or like just a journal that you keep with you. I have 3. I've got one at my desk, one in my bag, and one on my bedside table. I write down what I feel, and then I try to not justify what I feel, but just acknowledge my emotions. And if the emotion seems out of place, but I can see somebody else might be feeling it, I'm like, okay, well, we'll pin it to that. But journaling helps a lot when you struggle with dealing with other people's emotions.
And it's a good way to at least start that ball rolling, so that eventually you'll be able to not have to have a piece of paper on hand, but you might be out and about, and you suddenly have that wave of feeling like, oh God, the world's ending. And then you realise, wait a minute, I wasn't like that 5 minutes ago, what's going on? And then you can discern that.
Yeah, you're able to pick up what's you and what's other people and separate it.
Yeah, and journaling will help you get into the practice of working that out.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, what else?
I don't know.
Get the camera on you, and then you forget everything. Everything just falls out of your brain. Okay. All right, we'll leave it here. And as I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. There may be something specific that we haven't gone over, mainly because I don't think that there's any problem with Nikki being part of the circle. There are times when she's low. There are times when she's doing whatever it is that Nikki does, which just means that we have to be aware, and because we are aware and we also are in tune with each other's feelings. So again, when we're in a circle and she's suddenly has that mood drop, or she's come in and she's been a little bit kind of, but she's made the effort to come to a circle, then we accommodate that by being aware that she's doing that and not impressing upon her to do things. Just let her relax and be part of the circle. So I don't find that there is anything wrong. She's not a raving madman speaking about aliens and
I could one day.
Yeah, coming in with tinfoil on her head, but we're waiting.
It'll happen.
But she's not like that. She's very level-headed. So and quite funny. So if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments, and when we get enough, we'll do another video that has that in answering your questions. I'll put my teeth back in. We'll answer your questions, and so I hope you enjoyed this. There's another video that we're doing which will be on visualization, aphantasia, and which I'll be talking to Nikki about in a moment, but you won't see it until the next video. So many blessings, and blessed be.
Blessed be.
Which one are we going to do first? Which one are you going to talk about first?
Maybe the crazy.
The crazy.
Crazy, and then link it into aphantasia.
People can't see that I'm leaning over, or maybe they can. That just looks like we're close on a seat. I've just got to hold on to this thing here. So if it looks like I'm playing with your butt, I am not. Or feels like I'm playing with your butt.
If you like this video and want to see more, please click on the links provided. If you think this witchcraft thing may be for you, please subscribe. Blessed be.